Above the Influence is a national campaign where students and young people pledge to be above the influence from high-risk negative behaviors.
Above the Influence is important to me because I've seen a lot of people go through and struggle with different things that Above the Influence encourages people to really go above and to not do.
They pledge to be free from illicit drugs and alcohol use.
I think that this exhibit is important for students and community members because it heightens the awareness of what art brings to the community as well as what it's portraying, which is staying positive, staying above any kind of negative influence.
It's important for the Smithtown Library to become involved in exhibits like this and programs like this as part of the community and to raise awareness of substance abuse and to support the kids and the young people who are trying to raise awareness with their peers.
This exhibit came about through a meeting I had went to, and I brought back the idea to our Youth Advisory Board, and the Youth Advisory Board embraced the idea, and Alexandra, who sits on our board, took it even further and came up with an idea to make it an artistic pledge for Above the Influence.
The national campaign Above the Influence, their symbol is a circle with an upward arrow, and the upward arrow basically says to do the better and to be above all the different peer pressures and negative influences.
The Smithtown Youth Bureau is a town department, and our mission is to work with young people and their families and just to come up with different activities for them to be able to be engaged in that create positive youth development and positive decisions and just overall healthier lifestyles.
It was so important for my students to feel empowered, that they could express themselves through their art and have their art displayed visually in the community, because this gave their sense of expression and their thoughts a visual outcome that then is seen by people who then in turn react to what they have created. So in knowing that their artwork was going to be displayed at the library that is in their hometown of Smithtown gave them great pride.
I believe our young people sometimes succumb to peer pressure because maybe it's something that their friends are doing, or maybe they feel lost or out of place and they want to feel connected with something. And so they go and maybe use drugs just to escape and to go into a crowd of people that they want to be a part of.
I made the decision to be above the influence because I care about my family and my friends a lot, and I don't want them to have to worry about me or for me to have the extra pressure that I need to get out of this bad habit, or if I don't have more drugs, then whatever. So I really did it just for the better of my health and for my family and friends.
Prevention is key to keeping our kids educated about the dangers of drug use. We want to make sure that we get them to make better informed decisions to lead to healthier lifestyles.
I think kids do it to act cool, to really relieve some pressure that they think that it'll relieve it. And really, they don't think about the future, they just think about the present and what's going to happen now, rather than what are the effects and how am I going to cope with this later.
Well, the art here created in Above the Influence helps to evoke a social change because it's about feelings being represented in images. Art is obviously visual, and so people come and they see, and then this helps them to think further about deeper issues at hand. And right now we have students who wrestle with many, many issues in their lives, and so it gives them pause to consider what they are dealing with and that they want to take charge of their own life and stay above the influence.
I think using artwork and posters and music actually is a great way of promoting awareness, especially the visual, because I think people are really tuned into that, especially young people right now. It's a visual world, and it's a quick way to have a lot of impact. I think it's terrific, and it's a way for people to be able to express themselves in a way that maybe they aren't as verbal sometimes.
Awareness and education are very important because a lot of times our young people fall into traps where maybe they weren't given the proper education about decisions like using drugs, to understand how addiction forms and how quickly it can form and how it can lead real fast to being injured or even to die from it.
I hope that my friends and family and everyone who comes to see this event really gets inspired by it because you see everyone decorated the pledges in different ways, whether it's with words, you know, reasons why they want to be above the influence, and I hope that inspires people to realize that there's a lot more reasons to be above the influence than to be under them.
The utilization of artwork to make change is just one way where our young people can use art as an outlet. Art isn't a positive outlet, and if you look at these drawings, you'll see they're freehand, some of them are photography. Our young people are very creative, and it gets to show their artistic talent.
Whether my students were a part of creating these pieces for Above the Influence campaign that was generated by the Youth Bureau here in Smithtown, or they were just observers in the community that saw the artwork, I was hoping that they could think further about this issue of staying above the influence, or you know, rising above, knowing who you are, being proud. And in creating the artwork, there was pride involved, as well as displaying it and seeing what sort of emotions are elicited from the pieces themselves.
I hope when people in the community come and see the exhibit here at the Smithtown Library, that they not only enjoy the visual impact of it, but they also get the message, and they also appreciate the young people who are trying to communicate to them and to the community.